Okay. Yeah.
There's
You're good to go, Dave.
you ready? Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is the March meeting of the Salem Public Library Advisory Board. Well, welcome everyone. Do we need to take roll? And folks introduce themselves here around the table. I'm David Levy, I'm the chair.
Francine Belosa, past chair.
Gretchen Coppage.
My name is Rachel Collins. I'm a Learning and Development Supervisor at the library.
I'm Claire Seven, Staff Assistant for the library.
Bridget Esqueda, City Librarian.
My name is Logan, I'm part of the TAB.
And I'm Christy, I'm our Team Services Librarian here with Tab. Valerie here.
Dana Castagno,
Both lab members.
new lab member.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And who do we have online?
Sarah Bishop online.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, why don't we go ahead, welcome everybody, and hope everybody had a chance to review the minutes. Are there any changes or additions to the minutes?
Yes, I wasn't here for the whole meeting, but I did get to view it online. And I compare our current minutes with minutes that were written, say maybe 5 years ago, and I think they're getting like very scant. They're basically saying something was discussed or a question was asked. And I was surprised. I particularly asked Bridget about during the meeting remotely about whether there would be summer interns, and I was surprised that that was not noted in the minutes for people who might, follow the discussion. I think that's really an important thing for the public to easily be able to access, that you're planning to have two youth summer interns. So
Would you like to make a motion that we add that in?
yes, I would like to make a motion that we add in that there was an answer to a question regarding whether the staff would have the sort of bandwidth to be able to accommodate an intern this summer. And we were told that the plan was in place. Sonia was working to get one, and that we would the lab would be approached regarding funding the second. Anybody second that?
I'll second.
I have a follow-up question to it, actually. So they're technically not meeting minutes, they're summary notes, right? That is in here. And is there, it sounds like this is something that maybe changed a couple years back. And so would we just want to ask for a more detailed summary going forward and not go back to meeting minutes like verbatim?
So prior to the pandemic, the remote situation was different. So we used to not record the meetings. We would just have a video. It was a tape recorder that would sit in the middle of the room. And to access them, it wasn't like before we weren't able to just click on the link, right? And you'd go to the minutes. They were just, so with the updates with Zoom, now that we have the ability to go back and watch the minutes. With that, there was like changes just overall the way minutes are taken, even with other committees, to where now that you actually can go and see the whole video, everybody kind of moved more towards shortening and just doing the notes. But if you guys need more, want me to do more a script versus
So is the video kept for how long?
it's just gonna be on, it doesn't get deleted, it stays on our YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
We have to keep them for at least 7 years, right? Am I right, Mark?
I can't recall. what the
Okay.
I don't remember, but
policy
it's
is,
several
but
years.
Okay, for our HOA, I know it's 7
Mhm.
years. So somewhere around there. So for 7 years, at least we have access to them.
Mhm.
But I think it would be helpful, I think, for the board members if we had a little more detail.
Okay,
In some of it's broader.
Yeah.
Consensus. So it has been moved and seconded. Are there any other amendments, any other additions to the minutes? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment as proposed, please say aye.
Aye.
Is that Kelly that just came on?
Yes.
Hi, Kelly. Welcome. Great. Is there any public comments?
No.
Nope. Okay. We want to go next then to, we have some additions to some of the discussion items. I can add those now, or we can, or accept those, after we go through the informational items. What is the preference?
No, it's fine.
Okay, so I have a couple of, I have two. One is, and I apologize, I forgot to add this when submitting the agenda earlier this month. It is for the nomination and elections of a board vice president. Again, as a reminder, we had took open nominations last month. We were gonna vote on them this month. Looking at Marcus, which says we're gonna vote on them this month, so we'll make sure that we have that listed in the agenda. And then the second item is a discussion about having a representative from the task force attend and participate in some of the revenue task force discussions that are going on between now and the end of June. So those are there any other additions to the agenda? Well, let's go ahead and hear from the teen advisory board. Welcome.
Thank you.
Tab continues, oh wait,
Hang on one second.
So were you moving to amend the agenda to add those items?
We need to vote on that.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So we move to amend the agenda to add two additional items. One, the nomination and election of a board vice president. And the second is to discuss and then not elect, but appoint a representative from the LEB to serve on or to participate in the revenue task force. We can't serve on it, but at least make sure that we have a contact that goes to those meetings. So that's the motion. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Great. So moving and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Okay, thank you, Lauren. Yes, now.
okay, my name is Logan, pronouns are he, him. I go to Parish Middle School. So TAB continues planning for its Big Day TAB hosted event of the year. As well as for National Library Staff Appreciation Day on April 9th. This year TAB will make buttons and bookmarks to include a thank you notes for each and every library staff person.
Hi, I'm V. I say on pronouns, and I am a senior at Roberts Jamaica. There are a lot of service opportunities for TAB members in March and April. TAB will be helping prepare books for adult services blind date with a book display. We will be helping at a kids garden crafts event, a team gaming night, or gaming event, and a family night. In addition to National Library Staff Appreciation, and on our own, TAB members have advocated for the library at various city meetings and events to provide a team perspective about library services.
Are there any questions? Okay. Actually, I have two. My first one is, I'm very intrigued. Blind date with a book display. What is that?
So that is something that a lot of libraries do,
Okay.
typically for, not usually for kids, of course, kids are not usually dating, but basically you find a way to mask your books. Typically they're wrapped up in some sort of paper. And then some sort of like teaser blurb is written on the front. And so the intention is that people check out the books without knowing what the actual item is that they're borrowing based on this kind of teaser that entices them to take that book with them.
And it's not anything like a blurb inside the book. It's like literally like this one's like a romance or whatever. It'd be like romance and then like slight detail of what happens, not even like a full sentence, like yeah, and then you read it and then you can be like, I hated this or.
Yeah, it's a nice way to encourage people to branch out.
Yeah.
From what maybe they normally would read. So yeah, it could be like, this is adventure, pirates, and humor, and that's all you have to go on.
It's very cool. And then the second question is, the point of personal privilege. When I was in junior high school and high school, I was out of the library. So I'd be curious why you guys are involved with TAP and what interests you about supporting the library.
Other than the fact that you're brilliant.
When I entered sixth grade, I'd been going into the teen scene before that because my older brother was always in the teen scene, and I was like, I can be in the teen scene. I don't care. And I would always talk with Sonia. And so like after like 2.5 years of always talking to Sonia, I found out about TAP like 8th grade year. And I loved the library, I love books. And so I was like, this is a great opportunity to spend more time in the library. I didn't get in my 8th grade year, but I did get in over COVID, my 9th grade year. And sorry, like that makes me feel old.
It's okay.
That was 4 years ago. Yeah, and I love the library. I love helping out and doing things and overall just getting to like throw the events for the teens because they love them a lot. And I loved them when I was younger as well. So that's why I did it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I go to the library because I just really like reading and I love helping out in the community. I do a lot of community service and stuff.
That's great. Well, we're glad to have both of you. Thank you for coming.
Very much so.
Any other questions for our TAP members?
What response do you get from your classmates at school? Do you tell them, do you try to entice them, or do you not mention it?
About being part of TAB,
Right.
that's a good question.
I think they just think I'm weird.
I normally just try and get my friends to go to the events. They don't really care that if I'm in TAB or not, so.
Are you successful?
I've got my them to go to a couple of the
Cool,
events.
that's great.
That's nice.
I know my friends just think it's another ploy to read more books because last year I read like 900 books.
Good.
Not like new books, but like in the amount of books that I read in a year, rereads, all of that stuff. I think last year I was almost 900. So
Wow.
I can read this book in like under 2 hours.
Are you a speed reader?
No, I just read.
You eat it.
I can retain all the information and tell you about the entire book, reading it in under 2 hours.
It's amazing.
Should try that.
Right?
Can we clone that?
Any other questions for our team? Again, thank you.
Oh, I have a question. Yeah,
Go ahead.
excuse me. I would like to know more about, for your generation and age group, what the library means. And what would be the best way for me to do that? Would it be to attend one of your functions or one of your meetings or take one of you out to coffee? Any suggestions on understanding what the library means and what's important for your age groups?
I think if anyone ever wanted to figure out, yeah, like just checking out the events and kind of seeing how people react to them and even coming to our meetings. I know a lot of us have talked about what the library means to us because of like the budget cuts. Like I've been coming here since my dad passed away, which was almost 12 years. So like the library for me means a lot different than like other kids. For some teens and kids, it's books. For me, it's escape in the books. But yeah, like our meetings, we talk about it a lot, like what it means to us.
Got you. Well, thank you. If you would be comfortable, I would love to maybe attend a meeting and I'll follow. I get the lists of kind of the different programs. And so I'll try to get to one of those. Thanks so much for what you do.
Thank you, Kelly. Any other questions? Again, you're welcome to stay. I know you guys have busy lives, so thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having.
Chair's report, I will keep it brief because it'll be stuff that are already are in the. I had a meeting with the deputy manager to talk about the library and some of the challenges that are coming up in the next year. I will be meeting with them this again in April to have further discussions. The goal is to bring together leadership from the LEB Foundation and friends to talk about what FY25 is going to look like, which starts in July, and how to prepare for that and how to prepare the community for that. So we'll be meeting and have been trying to reach out to LEB members, talk about kind of what some of their priorities are in Michigan. And yeah, that's all I have for now.
No, we go through our report.
So that was Scott Archer that you.
Yes.
Okay.
City librarian.
Yeah, so attached you will find a report.
First of all, point of personal privilege on behalf of the LEB. Since the last meeting, it's now formally known that you are the new city librarian. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Happy to be here. Yeah, so attached you will find a report that was also available online. As you can see, our stats are they're steadily increasing. I think for the next report, what I'm gonna start doing is adding our current stats versus last month's stats, so you can see comparisons. So that'll be a change coming up in our new report. Also adding a couple of other details on there just to kind of get us more scope of how much more busier we are. Just generally. I just submitted some most current stats to Scott to share out with the budget task force. We've already surpassed all of last fiscal year's numbers. We've already outdone our first time circulation. We are already done the amount of programming and outreach and attendance. We've already outdone our door count is not quite there, but I mean, I just did it from July to March and it's close. So people are using our services and it's just the use is just increasing while our staff is decreasing, which is what I'm trying to relay to our budget task
So I
force.
didn't mean to interrupt you. So just to clarify, you're open less hours. But both your walk-in numbers are up and your online numbers are up.
Just generally, since July 1st to March, we've already are surpassing last fiscal years. So from 22 to 23, we've already are surpassing.
So in 8 months, you surpassed what you did in 12 months.
In 1 year, yeah, last year. A little bit of good news is that our new customer experience supervisor just began this Monday was her first day, and we are so happy to have her on board. That's one extra person to help with the workflow and helping supervise the circulation team, which is one of our biggest departments in the library. So we're hoping some great things. She has over 12 years of library and customer service experience. We've also recently, Rachel conducted a sexual harassment and unwanted training for staff, which was very beneficial because we have seen an increase of that. So wanting to prepare staff for that type of interaction. David Muller, who is our internal library technical support, did also some training on the new tech. We have in Anderson room. As you can see, we're adding some more collections of other language book vendors, which is exciting. Super busy on the programming front. We just wrapped up the Salem Reads, which I believe the attendance again surpassed last year's numbers. A lot of great attendance, a lot of great feedback. So we're just so happy to see that program continues to grow each year. Another one that I would like to highlight is I know people are going to be super excited about those Eclipse classes that we're going to be getting. There has been a delay in the vendor delivery, so we're still waiting for that, but we are going to have some free Eclipse classes to share out with the community. From strategic plan updates, in February, we did a workload and stress survey for staff because we really wanted to see how the new hours were impacting them. And from that feedback survey, we found that, you know, they feel more stressed. About that. So they are feeling more stressed, and they feel that the day is condensed, because now they have to do the same amount of work in less time when there's people here. So that's one of the things that if we ever do have to do any type of operation changes, we are going to ensure that staff have more time to do all the back end stuff when we're not open to the public, because that is we see a clear indicator that we can't complete most of the work when we're open to the public. Some of the feedback and suggestions that were implemented are listed below. There's a long list, so a lot of great feedback from staff that we implemented. Anybody has any questions? Let me know.
I have a question. So last time, I think you were able to share a percentage different from last month's report compared to last year's or the prior month when
January,
the
yep.
hours were, yeah. Do you happen to have that for February?
No, that was a one-time, the ask from city council. That's why I had that information. Is that something that you guys would want to see, like last year versus this year?
I think it'd be good. I think it'd be very good information, particularly as we look to educate members of the public and the city council and other stakeholders about the value of the library.
Okay.
Richard, I can work with Matt on that. See if we can work on that too.
Looks like there's a question.
So,
There's a link.
Kelly, or does somebody have a question online?
Yeah, just a clarification on the sexual harassment and unwanted attention training. Is that from patrons or within your human resources employees?
Oh, no, with patrons.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to clarify. I assume so. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for being asked that question. Are there other questions?
I do have another question for you, Bridget. So I was curious, with the survey that you all did in February, if you were planning on doing a follow-up survey or something to see like how these are going after they've been implemented a couple months down the road or something.
That's the plan. We want to do this every quarter, so we're hoping in the next 3 months to do another one just to follow up how staff are currently feeling. So yes, we do plan to do it at least every quarter, or maybe at the end of the year, once at the beginning of the end of the year. So yeah. Right now, I mean, with the looming budget deficit that's going to be coming, I mean, we understand that staff are very nervous to see if they even have a future here at the library. So we know we don't want to do it so close to that date, because then it's going to just skew all the data.
Has a decision been made about the position that you held under Kim, which, yeah, is that called the deputy city librarian, or?
Correct.
Right. Has a decision been made whether that will be staffed?
Currently, we're not going to staff it until after, we're going to see what our new budget is going to be. Because it's all going to depend on that.
Okay.
I volunteer at Myers Elementary Library, and I so badly want you guys to come back and do the library cards for all the first graders. Is that something that I would reach out to you about, or is it somebody else?
I can send you the link
Okay,
to request an outreach,
I would love
and
that.
Jessica could come by with the bookmobile.
Okay, I love that. I remember when my oldest, who now is almost 15, was in first grade, and like, it was the coolest thing that all these kids had their lanyard with their card around it. We still use it, and it's so sweet. And sad, obviously, for a lot of reasons that COVID happened, but that was one that just like hasn't seemed to like come back yet. Okay, I would love that. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? Thank you all. Do we have a friends report? How about from the foundation, Sarah?
So we met at the end of February, right after Bridget was appointed city librarian. So we celebrated that with Bridget, which was wonderful. And then it was also as Salem Reads was still going on, but coming to a conclusion. So talked about the success of that program. There's a committee currently reading books to determine what the books that will be presented to the public to vote on for next year's program are. Let's see what else. I mentioned that I was resigning as my position as the liaison, the lab liaison to the foundation, and that we will be within the lab be holding an election to replace that position, to have a new member become that liaison, and they were looking forward to working with a new person. I will continue on though with the foundation. Let's see. We talked about, the budget concerns and supporting the library broadly and bringing the organizations together in some way. And Kate, the executive director of the foundation, mentioned that she provided copies of Proving the Value of Your Library to David and to Lois Stark and Jim Shepke, who are working independently, maybe going to create a PAC in the aim of proposing a levy in the 2025 election. So they're working outside of the official support boards. And I think those were the main highlights. Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. Any questions for Sarah? Thank you. Next, let's go to the discussion items. We will. Bridget, you want to give an overview of the lab control funds?
Yeah, first of all, I want to apologize because I didn't realize, I should have put them with the agenda. So I have that information for you, which I'll share out via email with you all. But just kind of I wanted to share out the whole resolution and the scope of the budget. Like, it tells you the resolution where it was given over to the lab to control its scope. So that's just what I wanted to bring up with, especially with the new members, to kind of let you know why does lab have money, and two, what is the actual scope? Because every time I talk about this with other librarians, they're like, what, lab has money that they can have, which is very unique to just Salem. And it was because of that resolution back in 1974, 77. And I have that for you. So I was going to share that out just so you all know I have that information. And then the next one is the Culture Pass funding request.
Just step back for a minute, just to give the new board members a historical perspective. So for years, my understanding, people donated money to the library. And the money was here. And then, as was pointed out, the vision was city council said, you know what? We're going to transition. The foundation was created to kind of collect funds for the library, but there was still a bunch of money available. And so the city council decided at that time to allow the lab to kind of control these monies, understanding that they have a priority to support library activities and library functions. You'll see in here, and we'll talk about a form that we created that makes sure that the requests that we get in meet the objectives of the lab and of the library. So proposals have to be signed off on either by the library director or by the two other boards if there is some buy-in to what we're doing. So that's just a brief overview. Again, we have about 220,000 or so left. I think you can look more.
187,000 was the latest.
Oh, I thought it was, okay. I thought it was one. Okay, 187,000, okay. So we have 187,000. One of the requests that we have is from the library regarding the cultural pass. So
Yeah, so if you go to your agenda, second, the third to the last page, I am requesting funding for our culture pass for $2,500. It is to support purchasing more culture passes, because currently we receive funding from our friends at the library. They give us 2,500 to purchase culture passes. And I think we implemented this back in September of 22 when I had just began, and it has just skyrocketed. People come in, people register just to be able to check out a culture pass. You do need to have a library card. So it has been an incentive to bring people in just for this new resource. It helps give access to attractions and to museums for people with low incomes or limited incomes. It increases our circulation. It increases the culture and the learning and exploration part, which also supports our strategic plan. It's just been great to be able to offer this. But one of the setbacks is that people, they'll come in, you know, they'll see when it's due, like let's say the Children's Museum, which is one of the more popular ones, it's due on the 6th. And so they drive over here, wait outside so they can be the first one to get the pass and find that the pass isn't there because whoever has it hasn't returned it yet on time, or they're holding on to it. So that's been the number one complaint from patrons. It's like, why don't you have more passes? I drove 30 minutes just for this pass and it's not on the shelf. It was available when I drove out, and then when they got there, it's gone because it's on a first come, first served basis, and you can't renew it. You can't renew it and you can't place a hold on it. And the reason we did that is because they wanted to create more accessibility for all of our community members and not have certain people just always have it on reserve. So that's part of the background as to why we don't have that being able to be renewed or reserved. But we would love to keep offering this to more wider spectrum, especially now that we have reduced hours, and this is another way to extend library services and library attractions out to families. On the second to last page, you'll see the current circulation stats and the cost per use. Last year, the passes circulated 806 times total. And you can see which ones are the most popular ones, which Gilbert is number 1. And then that aviation museum, the Air and Space Museum is number 2. And every time each pass is checked out, it costs a total of $2.89, and around the most expensive being the Lansu Chinese Garden, which is $5. But the overall feedback and the experiences that these families get have been overwhelming, and it's just another great resource to provide that unfortunately we can't fund ourselves. You know, the money right now is very, very capped. So we would love to gain your support in order to continue to offer this to more families and access.
Is there a motion to approve?
Other question.
Yes, let's do a motion first, and we'll do question.
Oh, motion to approve the budget.
But yes, a motion to approve, accept it, and then we can have discussion about whether people have any questions or concerns. But at least I want to at least get it on the table.
No, I moved it.
I know, I was like, I don't know the right word.
So someone make a motion to approve the request?
I approve the request.
Okay.
I moved, we approve the request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
No, discussion. Yes.
Okay, so, I did the math and, I could see, how it worked out, but one column in your data confused me, and that's the price per pass. Because I know that, for example, the Len Shu Chinese Garden isn't $120 to get in. It's maybe 15. That's the last time I've been in.
Yeah, so
How can you explain what that price per pass means?
yeah, so we buy that yearly pass. So then we can continue to serve that one pass. So that's the price for the price per pass is for that year, the yearly pass.
And would it be an unlimited usage of that pass provided it's returned?
Yes, so our librarian is before she purchases a pass, she contacts and works with the attraction to make sure that they are okay with us purchasing that year pass and then having it circulate, you know, and used by family members or the people who check it out. And so all of those are the ones that have agreed to it, and that's why we buy that yearly membership is what they call it, and then that's the pass that we use to circulate.
So you could actually increase what's called circulation. Because it's the, you have the yearly pass, like you would for city state parks. And that's the example that I can think of right now. You have Oregon State Parks tag, you can use it and they shut off and forever. So you could, there's actually bandwidth here for more usage of this.
Right.
Of this tool.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I sound like this dumb, but I wanted to understand this. I delved into the numbers and I was like, where does this come from? Now I get it. Sorry.
And they only check out for 1 week, so they have 7 days to use the pass as many times as they want, but they have to return it before the 7th day or else.
You could physically bring it back?
You do, yeah. I mean, you could put it in the book drop, that's
Right.
fine, but you do have to.
Because
It's
it's
an
the
actual-
same as, okay, like,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there other questions?
Yes, so first of all, I would like to say that I have used the pass for the Oregon State Parks and it's really great and convenient. That being said, I think that was the only one available when I went, so I see the point of why more funding is needed. I'm just curious, so is the 2,500 that was coming from Friends, was that a one-time? Or is that something that they're doing again and we're with our 2,500, it'd be doubling or tripling what we have on hand?
We did get the approved for this fiscal year for the 2,500, so this added one would be to double all of those passes.
For this fiscal year? Okay, through June.
And it's in your
Through the next year, so we would acquire them and then those passes would be good until the following year.
So June of 2025.
I would say like March, April of 2025.
So I see 2,050 rather than 2,500, which is it?
Yeah, so
Is that a typo or?
the 2,000, so we originally got $2,000 for the passes, and then in February, we got approved for 2,500 because we asked Friends if they could increase it by 500 so we could purchase more passes. And that's why I asked for the same, so we're already buying a certain amount, and so just to double that amount for family.
And you don't have any means test, like you mentioned, especially for low income, but you don't use any means test for it. It's just open to anybody. And is it only people who have a Salem library card? Because I know I have like a lot of library cards, and in Multnomah County, I have like a passport one, and you can't get a cultural pass if it's one of the, so like can Kaiser people get this, or how does that work?
So with the Friends, I think they had asked them if they wanted to specify, and I think in the spirit of being, because libraries are all about removing barriers and giving access. So in the spirit of that, anybody with a library card, as long as they have a CCRLS library card, can check out a pass.
Other questions?
This is amazing. I love it. Sorry. I'm really excited. I hope you get the money.
I was just wondering, the dollar amounts that are listed for the yearly passes, is that for what was paid for last year, or are these updated prices for right now?
This is what we paid for last year, so, yeah.
So it'll probably be the full 25, or maybe even more, I mean,
Yeah,
prices are kind of out of control, so.
I hope it didn't change too much, but I do understand that it could be a little bit more to renew certain passes, for sure.
Other questions? Just one quick clarification, so I just want to understand the request. So the 2,500 would cover you from when to when?
So if approved, our librarian will purchase them probably this week or next week, and then they expire a year from purchase date, so March of 2025.
So if we were to give you more money to get you through June of next year, through your fiscal year, would that be helpful, or is that hard for you to anticipate what you would need? I'm just saying, as opposed to coming to us next year, if you just need something to get you through the fiscal year.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to give more money, we can delay, like purchase some now and then delay and purchase some again in June, and that would be a year from June.
But would that be a nightmare
It's their
to
1 year
track
passes.
when they expire?
1 year passes.
A little bit, because I believe she already purchased some already, 2 weeks ago. So I mean, if we purchase them now and within this month, we would know that all of them are gonna expire and we would need to repurchase again next March.
That's fine, that's fine. Any other questions or comments?
Online, no, okay.
Do I hear a motion? Again, we have a motion to approve and seconded. Any other comments?
I actually do, sorry. I'm a physical person, so this was kind of my thing. I'm just curious, because I'm not familiar with this form, so is there any kind of buffer, like, let's say that we give 2,500 and all of the things end up costing slightly more. If like it's within 10% more,
We've
would need
not
a
gotten, we've
request.
not gotten to that level. She can
Gotcha.
come back to us.
so it will be,
Yeah, we'll work that out, yeah. But that's a good question, but we've not gotten to that level. So if it comes out to be 3,000, she can come back to us. She doesn't have to fill out the form, just let us know.
okay, cool.
Just approve.
Or no, because that's not what she's asking.
I mean, it's sure, I mean, I think the consensus is we'll give you more money, so if you want more money, we don't wanna screw you up. So if 2,500 you think is adequate to get you there, or 3,000, whatever.
Looking at how much we were able to purchase with the 2,000, with 2,000, we were able to purchase 22 passes total. So by asking for another, for the other 2,000, we're hoping to get at least 42 to 46. So I mean, we would only have 40-ish passes. So if the board wants to increase that, then I would say another 2,000 to get us to the 60 pass range.
So increase from 2,500 to 4,500.
And that would give us more passes to purchase, and we would then be able to triple the amount of passes available for the community.
What's the consensus of the group? The maker and the second agree to increase the amount to 4,500?
I think increasing would be good. I know I'm not one who made or seconded, but there's also other attractions that could potentially be added to the list. Like, I mean, this is a great list of places, but one thing that I think would be great is OMSI. And that's a really expensive, especially if we're trying to make this an experience available for everyone. So I would say, let's get up to that 40 to 60, well, 60-ish pass range, but also like maybe look into adding and getting a little bit different than just more of what we already have.
Sure, I will put that suggestion to our librarian.
So are we okay to increase that to 4,500?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so, any comments from folks online?
No comments. If you lead us in the process, I'm just aware of the time and the number of other agenda items. I'm a bit of a taskmaster, so you're gonna purge out our current motion and we're making a new motion.
You're making a new motion for 4,500.
So Chair Evie, I would propose someone just make a motion to amend the current motion to 4,500, vote on that, then have your vote on the overall, and we can move on from that item.
Thank you. Yep, so the amendment is for 4,500. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Great, now the overall motion, to accept the proposal.
I'm sorry. I'm seeing our documentarian. For the purposes of, who made the motion, who seconded the amendment?
Yeah.
Right. I seconded it, David made it.
Okay.
You made it.
You made it.
I
She seconded it.
That was the first one, and then for the second motion to make the amendment, David's making the motion, and who's seconding
I'll
it?
second it.
Okay, I need that for the notes.
Does that work?
Nobody.
That's fine.
Okay,
That's just for the notes.
Okay.
You've already had your vote. That doesn't.
Okay.
that's
I
fine.
want to make sure we're doing it right.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you. So, as we're reminded, we're about 5 minutes away. How much later can we go? We need to be done by 6.
I think 6:15 is the latest we can go because our
Okay, so we got about another few minutes, okay.
Now you need a,
Now we-
now you need a vote in the motion, it's still out there.
So, thank you. So all those, we have a motion on the floor to accept the proposal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, okay. Yes, Richard.
library will be closed.
The bell's going off.
Okay.
Please.
I would like the lab to make a recommendation to city council to keep the funding.
Hang on just 1 second. Hang on before you make that motion. So we have about 15 minutes left. We have a number of items that we want to go through. I want to make sure that we get to as many of them as we can. We have a agenda item about the Willamette Heritage Center. We want to talk about, and we also want to talk about the resignation of our lab liaison to the foundation. So I want to make sure the strategic plan discussion of the board recruitment, we can hold off a bit. And then I want to talk about the budget, and then we'll have a motion proposed by Rich. So if that's okay with the rest of the group,
And election.
and thank you, and elections too.
And what about the revenue task force?
And we'll do the revenue task force. Thank you very much for both. Yes, yes. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the budget first. The budget is grim. There isn't a nice way to say it. The budget is grim. Some of you know that I testified in February along with other people regarding the proposed budget cuts for FY 24, which were significant and cut back in hours. And I can say that one of the indirect results of that was, you know, we had to shut down the West Salem library yesterday, just for the lack of staff. So it is a significant item. FY 25, which starts in July, isn't looking a lot better. You know, we're having discussions with the city council and having discussions with library staff and other stakeholders about what that would mean for the library to cut back. 34 staff is very small for what the needs are here. Couple of things we want to do on that. One is talk about kind of what our role is and help educate the public about what this means. And then there are a couple of things that we can do. One was the revenue task force, which we can talk about, but I think there's going to be a motion made.
Yes, that lab make a recommendation to city council to keep the funding for the library at the current level for 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. So as part of the discussion, the role of the lab is to educate both the community and the city about the value and importance of the library. And so city council and city administration needs to hear from us. And so I think it's important for us to formally let city council know, because they made a commitment to us, to me, and to other people that testified that they were not looking to cut the library's budget for FY 25, that they had heard from the public. That said, there's some fiscal realities that they're having to deal with. So I think they need to hear from us, and this is one way to hear from us is to formally make a comment to city council about what our position is regarding cuts. So any comments? Great, thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Really, I just have one question. In what format are you, is this gonna be a letter or is this gonna be someone speaking to council?
We will put together a letter and I will send it to Bridget to distribute to city council and the city staff.
We can do that through the city recorder.
So historically, in working with commissions and boards that want to do a letter, again, I won't go through it Currently, a draft is put together and then it's voted on in a public meeting as to its content. Is that or are you gonna nominate someone to, as part of your motion, to also give someone the authority to work with staff to draft that letter? One person, if it's gonna be a collaborative effort, it needs to be
Sure,
done in public.
if that's your recommendation, we can put together a collaborative effort and do a draft that we can circulate internally and then send that out. So it adds an amendment to the motion.
Internally, meaning in a public forum. Is that what you're meaning?
Is that what you're asking me to do?
If it's gonna be one person that's gonna, you either,
That's not.
so.
Either you do it, yeah.
It either needs to be one person or less than a quorum, or if it's gonna be a quorum of people, it needs to be,
I will, if you need one person, I will do it. I will send the letter out and I will send it through Bridget.
so I would recommend that you move to amend it, that you do this and that Chair Levy be in charge of crafting the testimony to go to council, or the drafting the letter to go to council.
I'll amend the motion for our chair to be delegated the authority to draft the letter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, do we have to second?
Second.
I'll
Yes.
second. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
I'm just trying.
It's so
I
confusing.
know, keeping us out of trouble, I appreciate it. It's been moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, okay,
And I have the motion itself.
and yeah, thank you, we'll go back to the motion itself, the motion was to send a letter to city council and city staff regarding our position to hold. Why, does that make sense to you?
Yes.
I hear you looking around, so.
And that is amended to be drafted by Chair
Yes.
Levy.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's been moved and seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, okay. Thank you. So as part of that, there is an opportunity for us, and I think it's gonna be important for us over the next,
Excuse me, I'm close up.
over the next few weeks and months to work with city staff and city council, to let them know about and find out what's going on in terms of, the revenue challenges that we face. There is a, revenue task force that's meeting monthly. And if somebody has time in their schedule, the meetings, I believe, are, and I can read this in the record. They're meeting, the next meeting is March 18th at 6:30 p.m. April 25th, which is Thursday at 6:30 p.m. May 21st, which is a Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. June 6th, at Thursday at 6:30 p.m. And their last meeting is June 26th, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Are there folks here that are available that can either listen in or participate? I'm not looking at anybody in particular. Any or all of you, I can forward this to Bridget. And I just would encourage you, if you can, to try to attend and participate. And I think probably as we get closer, we'll probably just pick 100%.
So the next meeting is before we meet again.
Oh, there's a question. I'm sorry. What's that? Yes, there's a question. Yeah.
Yep, no, it's just to say that I am willing to attend those. I would just want to have the right information. And if we could, if it's possible to kind of assign us out on those dates, whatever the
That'd
best
be
possible.
great.
Yeah.
Kelly, if you could,
Yeah.
Give me a call or send me an email.
Okay,
I need to touch base with you anyway. And I don't have that, so you can get that from Bridget, or we can figure out a way to get that.
sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. And I can forward the agenda list to folks, so yes, if folks could attend that, I would greatly appreciate it. Then one item that before we get to the Heritage Center, we unfortunately are losing our Salem Public Library Foundation liaison this month. I noticed her resignation. So Sarah, we're very sorry that you're gonna be leaving that position, but we will have we'll be taking nominations and having a formal vote at next month's meeting.
Chair, Levy, just so we have it on the record, if she can announce her resignation and the effective date so that that's memorialized.
She sent it to
I
us.
think she did.
She
Yeah.
did, so we have a
Yeah.
written copy. I don't know if you want a verbal copy for the record.
I think she did last month.
She
Yeah,
did, and then she sent it-
I emailed a letter saying I was resigning as of this
Okay.
meeting, so I can just state it now too. I'm resigning as of this meeting as the liaison, lab liaison.
We had it in writing, so that's why I did it. Okay, thank you. So just be aware that we will be having, this is the time, we'll be taking nominations at next month's meeting and then voting on it in May.
You can do the nominations and the elections at the same meeting if that'd be your preference.
That would be good.
Since
Yeah.
it's been announced, so everyone's on notice.
Okay, we'll do it, we'll add it to the agenda for next month. To do the nominations and the elections.
Sorry.
Secondly, one thing we did do at last month's meeting is take nominations and elections for board vice president. We had one nomination. Are there any other nominations at this time? Hearing none, I would take a motion that we close the nominations. And we have one nominee, it's Valerie. So all those, we'll have a motion, all those in favor of Valerie as our board vice president, signify by saying aye.
Hi.
I think we did get this. Okay, we get a second, please.
I second.
Thank you. We got a first and a second. So all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Great. All right, welcome aboard. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Last item for tonight, and I'm sorry we're rushing through this, but last item for tonight, Francine, you want to talk about the whole Emmett?
Well,
very simple.
I think it was in 2021, lab contributed $10,000 to the Willamette Heritage Center to assist them with transferring information from the city to them, and then they would update this, the Salem Online History Project. So you can read their report is the last page of this. They, by the agreement with the city, they have to send us a report every 6 months. Kylie Pine, who is the, I guess, executive director, has been sending it to me as chair, but I'm going to email her and ask that she start sending it to the current chair. And I have asked her a couple of times and not gotten a response from this, so I'd like to ask if Bridget or Dave or someone would put maybe a little bit behind this. I remember when the request came to us for money, one thing that I asked was, will there be a direct link on the Salem Public Library website to the Salem History Project? And she said there would, and I went back and reviewed that meeting on the YouTube. So, but I've emailed her a couple of times and asked about this and haven't gotten an answer, and I don't know if it is because it isn't complete yet or what, but I would like to get an answer to that. Because I think that was important to me in approving that amount of money, that there be some direct link from the library to the Willamette, to the Salem Online History Project. And I'm not seeing it on the website, and I haven't had an answer the couple of times I've emailed about it. So I'm not gonna ask again, and we'll just lay that out, and if someone wants to take it on, please do.
Do you remember when they came to us? Was it last?
What?
When they came to us, was it last February?
No, they initially came in like 2021. It's a long time ago. Yeah, I believe it was 2021.
Do you anticipate they're gonna come back to us for?
No, I don't. I wouldn't know, but I don't. I would have no reason to.
You hadn't heard it one way or the other.
Correct. Yeah.
Are there any questions for Francine?
Yeah, the summary I set out of like the past lab kind of has something in there about it, just to help orient you all about what's really going on in its connection with these other institutions.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time. Are there anything else that I forgot to mention?
So then Shirley, are you gonna move to table the discussion on the strategic planning discussion?
Yeah,
Next
well,
meeting?
we're gonna postpone that until our April meeting, the item regarding this strategic planning discussion of board review. Thank you for that. Any other comments for the good of the group? Right. Kelly, yeah, please get a hold of me. So if you can, we'll figure out a way to get together. Thank you.
You bet.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Is there a second? Great. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thanks, everybody.